and I was about 2 blocks down the street. We were just coming back from Cubby's from shopping, and we were right next to the Upstream Brewery. And it was such a cold day, but people were inside, all warm and toasty in the clubs. We just walked past the art gallery, and I said to my husband, I said, "Don't you love our old market neighborhood with all the people warm and snug and inside the cafes and looking out?" And not seconds after that statement left my mouth, we heard this huge thud, which was kind of like railroad cars coupling or a huge amount of snow falling off the roof. And then we thought didn't know what it was, thought it was snow, a car crash. And then we turned the corner, which was about 20 feet ahead of us, and we saw that there was gas flaming from in front of M's Pub, and then we smelled coming down the street, which was about 100 yards away from here. Still, you could smell the very strong smell of gas on the street. And the first thought I had was, I hope, and I could see men in green safety jackets who we seen earlier in the day digging fiber optic cable right here. You can still see right behind me that big orange reel is conduit piping for the fiber optic cable that they were laying right here. Obviously, there's the other reel right over a few more, about 50 feet over that way, a big black reel, which is obviously been left here. I hope it's evidence of what happened here. So my first thought was I saw these guys in the green vests standing there and said, "Oh my God, I hope none of those guys who were working got killed, people in the cafe." But then we still smelled the gas, and knowing that these gas explosions could follow down the street, we decided to retreat to 10th Street, and then we came back up Howard, but before we retreated, we saw also people running away from the scene, people who had been in other shops and things. And then we retreated to 10th Street, came back up Howard. We talked to several young women who work at the candy shop, and they said that they had been right there. They felt the explosion on their bodies. They were thrown by it. They were the really close eyewitnesses to actually what happened. And thank goodness it seems their backs were turned when it happened. But then we came back and watched it later in the day as this terrible tragedy unfolded. But it seems to me, I mean, the fire chief came out and said it's too early to speculate on what happened. But I think our officials need to fear less the lawsuits and liability suits, and that I hope that they will have the courage that our frontline firemen and even those guys out who were forced to be out here digging in the coal here had the other day, who stayed next to here after that explosion and after they'd cut the pipeline and started telling people about what they did. And I hope that those people who are above them have the same courage and take the same responsibility that those people took. Because this was a preventable tragedy. There were many steps to this thing happening, the destruction of one of the real jewels of our city. And we hope that our leaders step forward. We've paid, as I understand from talking to these guys before, this cable is being laid by one of the major telecoms companies here. Now, see, even I'm afraid to mention the name of the company whose name does not be mentioned. But there's only two of us in the consumer area. And this is the company most of our consumer dollars have gone to, and we've got lower quality service at huge prices for this, and they should have been paying to have this done right, and not to hire a bunch of Texas wildcatters. I know that this outfit, I've seen them around here for weeks, is some Texas outfit who does horizontal drilling, just like the old fracking, and I know from a very close friend of mine who is also involved in the gas business, that these sorts of people are often kind of very thinly capitalized. They don't have much insurance. Well, if the people who are in whose benefit that pipe is being laid hire those kind of people, then they need to take financial responsibility, and their insurance company needs to take financial responsibility for this preventable catastrophe. It's not just an accident of nature or an accident that God knew. This is stuff, and it's our responsibility as the public to hold them accountable, and not just to wait and see and eat the popcorn and see what happens. We need to let our voices be known. I mean, that's why I came out last night. That's why I'm out here, so that it isn't just all covered up as to what happened. I mean, there's so many facts here that I don't think it's going to be. But I hope that people really take this seriously to say we have got to have oversight when people are doing dangerous work. There's no cutting, the guy who cuts the most corners to give the lowest price wins, has consequence. And we need to face up to this situation.